So welcome to another week of This Week in Showdown. It's our July 5th episode. So for those of you who are still celebrating July 4th, or Bobby Bonilla Day for July 1st, welcome to the episode. Yawggy, how are you doing?
Doing good. Got my 4th of July Rangers hat from a few years ago on, so ready to celebrate.
Yep. In light of Bobby Bonilla Day, what was your favorite memory of a former employer paying you millions of dollars 2 decades ago?
I got limited to just one. Oh man, yeah, I wish. I wish I got a check for $1 million every year.
Mine is the next time it happens. It'll definitely will be my favorite. We were talking the deferrals are becoming more and more common.
Yeah, I think people like Steven Strasburg still getting paid by the Nationals. I think right now isn't Chris Davis still getting paid by the Orioles?
Yeah, didn't he have like an injury buyout or something at the end there?
Yeah, so they're getting more common. So I think even Bobby Bonilla isn't even the highest or even the longest even right now as far as the deferrals go. So it's just the most well known because I think it was the first one.
I think Manny Ramirez is like the 7th highest paid Red Sox this year.
Right, still, yeah, even it feels like 20 years later. I know it's not that long, but it feels like it.
Yep. Well, we were talking, so the Bonilla one's interesting because it's tied into like a real world current event. You were listening to an episode with Steve Phillips, right?
Yeah, so Steve Phillips is a co-host on the lead-up spot on MLB Network Radio every morning. So the producers and co-hosts rib him pretty hard every July 1st when he's on there about Bobby Bonilla Day. And I think a couple years ago they had Bobby Bonilla even call in to thank Steve Phillips for the contract. And, so they lean into it pretty hard and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, and I'm going to get some of these numbers wrong. So the Mets had access to the Bernie Madoff fund before it was turned, as it was known, before it was known as the Bernie Madoff pyramid scheme or Ponzi scheme.
Right.
So they could put Bonilla's contract in escrow, and it would grow more interest, and the Mets would, if this fund was legitimate, would have come out ahead. Right. That
was the thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It looks much worse when you lose all of your principal and you're still on the hook for a much higher contract down the road. So
right, yeah.
Watch out for those Ponzi schemes, folks.
Yeah. I think it's the basis for kind of what the Dodgers are doing with Shohei. All his deferral is they have all that money they're paying every year, but it's going into this escrow, so it's not costing them as much down the road. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's. I'm assuming with Ohtani, there's a tax benefit to if he gets paid while he lives in Japan full time.
Right.
Versus
it gets complicated really quickly, I think.
Yeah. If you have any of these weird contract situations, you should talk to a tax lawyer and your agent.
Yes, that's why you pay an agent. Yeah, exactly.
And not this podcast. This is not financial advice, by the way. Awesome. We're going to be going through the power plant, the hitters and pitchers. We're back on the weekly schedule here for a little bit. The AL and NL All-Star starters were announced, so we'll dig in there and what that kind of looks like from a showdown perspective. And then week 9 of our 12-team league just finished up. We're only going to 11 weeks, so we'll do a deep dive for the hitters and pitchers these last 3 weeks, since this will be the most data-rich. And also, for those in the league who are voting on awards, the ability to look a little bit deeper than just the top 3 that we've been providing. But a quick side here. We're going to go with a chance for memorable moment art for the 2026 cards. Did you see the Contreras Cavalli sit-down boy fight?
I did see that. Yes, yeah. I saw the replay and I listened to the radio the next day when they were talking about it there too. And so, yeah, they were saying it's the first time in Red Sox history where somebody's been injected in back-to-back games. So, Contreras has that.
Yeah, the first one was a little soft.
The first one was that day before was that didn't need to be happening. Yeah.
The second one was probably worth too because I think Contreras was the primary instigator, though. I will say that if you're trying to de-escalate a situation, ending your sentence with like a diminutive, pronoun or something like boy, son, like that, probably not a great idea from Cavalli. Do you have a like general term that you use when you're talking to a stranger? That you use in place?
A general term? Not really. I mean, you call them by their name, or you, hey buddy, or hey pal.
Okay, so buddy and pal. I will use boss.
Boss is good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as an uplifting, like hey, like a sign of respect. And I've never ended up in a near fist fight because of that. So take that to heart if that's what if you're in the market for a new sentencing sender, maybe go with that.
Yeah, let's stay away from boy and son and those kind of things. That definitely sends the wrong message.
Yep. So thumbs up, thumbs down on using these as the art for Contreras Cavalli next year.
I don't think they would want that as the signpost for their season.
Maybe we'll put it as an alternate art. We will see.
Yeah.
We'll see an alternate art that's a little bit more of a fond memory here coming up
Yeah.
shortly. All right. So we didn't do the power plant last week because we did the halfway episode. Go listen if you want to hear the pacing for the 2026 and where people were at. So now we're back on the weekly pacing. Anybody stand out here to you?
Dansby Swanson made some headlines there. He had a streak there going. He had a 3-homer game, I think, right, and then followed it up with another one. So
was it a 3 and a 2? Like it was like 2
was.
monster games back to back.
Yep, yeah. Yeah, Riley Green going off with Detroit. I mean, I think he's been kind of up and down this year. He'll go on stretches and then go cool off. I think part of the reason Detroit's where they're at, I think, is he hasn't been performing quite steadily as they've hoped.
Yeah, Otto Lopez, just I think 8 extra base hits in a week is maybe the high watermark that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him play when the Marlins were playing against the Rangers. He's exciting. He's just one of those players that just is 110% all the time.
James Woods is on this list. It's just Wood, right?
James Wood, yeah.
It's not. James Woods is the guy from Casino and Hades and Hercules. He did not have a very great week.
Yeah, James Wood is becoming a staple on here somewhere on this list every single week. So,
and Trey Mancini's a holdover, so don't count him there at the bottom. So, Joe Mack, with a 3 home run week, I didn't even know he was in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple of big, multiple people with 4 home run weeks here. Caminero, has been on a heater that's he has a chance to maybe uptick. Everybody we saw paced to a lower power rating. Like very few people jumped up. Caminero has a chance. I don't think he's going to get to the 55, but it looked like he was off pace for 45, and now maybe he's back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's tearing it up, and yeah, the Rays are reaping the benefits.
Yeah, well, at that pacing episode, they would have had 3 10s. One would have been Caminero. And so that's an impressive showdown team if you have 3 10s and one of them's a 17-20 homer.
Yeah. It'd be impressive if he can take, you see his card here from last year and what the difference between that and what 2026 could look like and how high he could be taken in a draft.
If he gets to the 9, 16-20, that is as opposed that's
first round territory, really.
Yeah, that's impressive. So I remember when Devers came up, right? He had a similar we would get the extra base hits, but he would have the low on base because he would swing too much.
Mm-hmm.
So now and then you see what Devers become, where he's a 9-10. He can put he's got the on base up there and still gets the extra base hits. So, all right, going to pitchers here. So I think the guy who's not on here is Yuri Perez. He had 7 perfect innings today. He had 2 starts, so he was under the 14 for the average of 7. But 7 perfect today. And the moment they pulled him, I was rooting for the Athletics to come back hard.
Yeah, was a walk and a hit that inning they pulled him. So the 8th inning, they lost the perfect game and the no hitter in the same inning.
Well. So the guy they brought in and you have something in common in that you both recorded 0 outs that game.
Yeah.
So he did not do well. George, I think the Mariners, basically the whole Mariners staff ended up on here. So
that's been back-to-back weeks where it's been multiple Mariners. I think 3 of them on here. So yeah.
Yeah. Miles Mikolas is on here with 7 innings and a 7 ERA. So he was hit hard. He was hit hard 2 different games in that Red Sox series.
Yep.
And then anyone else? DeGrom down there with 7 for you. There was someone else who had a monster. Had gave up a ton of runs in here. Who am I missing? There's Mikolas, and there was somebody. Oh, Charlie Barnes
yeah.
With a 7 innings of relief and a 9 ERA. So all sorts of interesting stat lines.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the point in the season where you just have guys that just got to eat innings. You're getting injuries. You're kind of debating on who's coming up from the minors to fill in, and in the meantime, you got guys just gotta take it on the chin.
Yep, you gotta wear it. So I have Eduardo Rodriguez on my fantasy team, He's top 10 in ERA, but he doesn't strike anyone out. So I'm like, I don't know like where to complain there because he helps me in some areas, but in others it's like you're going 7 innings. You couldn't strike out 4 guys. Like,
Yeah.
like what are you doing? Also, I'm scared to death that means it like he's going to regress to the mean.
It's going to turn around for sure. Without that swing and miss, it's going to come back and bite him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the track record either.
Yep. Also, I'm going to go check Miles Mikolas. This is him getting hit hard the second game. Him there in the background. I think he's getting the better of this. I don't know if Contreras is fully concentrated on him, but he's getting his end of it there.
What do you think about Cavalli not getting tossed in that game? Him going out and still pitching 7 innings, 7 strong innings, and kind of putting that behind him.
Yeah, I mean probably. Yeah, I think Contreras like don't go on the mound. Like that's like pitchers are landing there, and that's kind of their workspace. So it's a big flat area. There's like room to go around. I remember when A-Rod cut through. I didn't particularly like that. So yeah, I don't know. Also, Contreras just kind of wears people thin.
Yeah,
like he's the only like competent piece of offense my team has right now. But
yeah,
but I could see if it was like 90 degrees out somewhere and like I was hot and already irritated that would not be the guy I'd want to see. And he's got stuff going on and like all of the good vibes going to the people of Venezuela, and people have lives. I get that, but
yeah, extra stress there for sure.
Yeah, but it's like I'm gonna say it's mostly on him, and then Cavalli didn't do himself any favors. So I don't think there needs to be one person to blame. I think multiple people can be in the wrong in a situation, and that was one of them. But
well, I think we also had this week. Was it this week we had the Austin Hedges and Josh Naylor situation too? Where Austin Hedges yelled out to Naylor, "Nobody likes you." So
yeah, but
you saw that.
Yeah. So on the Josh Naylor spectrum, like Wilson Contreras is like an 8 out of 10. Josh Naylor.
Yeah.
I love Naylor, like out at second base, like doing jumping jacks and like if that's your brand, right? Is like I'm gonna be the guy who wears people out.
Yep.
I think most of those guys are better off just being ignored.
Yeah.
So I think even the Mariners announcers are pretty sure that Naylor has nothing most of the time he's out there. So awesome. All right, Naylor is not on an All-Star this year, though he could be with when everything gets dropped off here. Here are the AL All-Stars. Anyone here come as a surprise to you?
I mean, looking preseason and looking at this list, I mean, the biggest one's probably, Ernie Clement. Just kind of that guy on the Blue Jays and kind of doing well. So, yeah, that's the biggest surprise out of this list.
So, where did he get he was like second in voting, and he's not having like a crazy year, right?
It's not a crazy year. I mean, you can put it towards you get a whole entire country voting for you. You can say that Toronto's going to have. I think Toronto overall had the most votes of people on the team was the Blue Jays. So.
Yeah, I think Guerrero opted out, which is probably good because I don't think he really deserved it. And first base is always pretty deep, and he had like a pretty soft season so far. Caminero taking the reign at third base. We're talking about him having a monster year. The 2 Oakland guys. Have been crazy. The entire outfield may not play.
Right. Well, Judge isn't for sure.
Yeah, Judge isn't. Trout's coming back from the hammy, and Buxton just re-aggravated that hip. Mm-hmm. So, I think Buxton's best chance to get that 45 tier power is to actually just get a decent DL stint here, and then come back and get hot.
Yeah. Take that extra rest over the All-Star break and heal up for sure.
Yeah, he came back. He got thrown out. Bobby Witt's just going to be a mainstay there at shortstop. I mean, unless him and Gunnar Henderson just flip-flop. It's going to be tough to work your way in. Mm-hmm. I guess Neto from the Angels.
The Angels, yeah, Zach Neto, yeah.
Yeah, he hits a good bit. But yeah, Clement would definitely have been based on last year's showdown card, clearly the outlier here.
Yeah,
even,
sure.
Even the guys who are 8s, we had 2 8s, 16 to 20s in here. And Trout's at 8, 15 to 20.
Right. And even Caminero at 7, 14. Everybody knew coming in this year that he could break out this year. So he's not surprising that it would be a 7. So
yeah, so that's So the AL All Stars, like that's really the big surprise. And then NL, are we saying second base both ways is the surprise?
Well, just the comeback from, I mean, Albie's had it before. Just the comeback there is, yeah, certainly a surprise there. I mean, two of your three outfield spots, I think you could say, kind of where did that come from? So,
Here's the other memorable moment, by the way. This is a much more happy memory for Paez.
mm-hmm.
That was amazing. That was an amazing catch, by the way. He should make the All-Star game the next year based on that catch alone.
Yeah. So, I mean, some variety here. I mean, you got a lot of Dodgers on here, no surprise. But I mean, even C.J. Abrams, kind of the step he's taken this year with the Nats, and like I said, Pajes and Marsh in the outfield, and even what Drake Baldwin's doing in Atlanta.
Yeah. Marsh has obviously been going nuts. Freeman deserves it, right? Like he had that slow start, but he's come on like gangbusters. I think he's back in line to get a 10 for didn't he have like 12 straight years of being a 10 on base or something?
I think so. Yeah.
I would expect more Nationals because don't those guys show up like they have like 3 or 4 different guys who end up on our
the power plant. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wood ends up on there.
They just don't have the voting base, for starters at least. The voting base in Washington right now with a bad team is just not there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Albies, I thought it was kind of done, so it's good to have him see him do a resurgence. I mean, he's always going to be like, in showdown terms, he's always going to be like a 7, 8, maybe a 9 on his best years with like the extra base hits. That's just the type of player he is. Awesome there. Okay, so now going to our 12-team league. So we are just finished week 9, so we have week 10 and 11, then we're going to start the playoffs. Probably should just call the tiebreakers now as I was like sitting and looking at this. It's like...
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah, for sure.
So tiebreakers should be like run differential, well, head-to-head if it's 2.
Head-to-head first, yeah, for sure.
And then if it's multiple, just run differential till you get down to 2. And then go down. Then go to head-to-head, and then it's either runs scored or runs allowed, I suppose, right?
Yeah, well, I was thinking first one would be head-to-head. If it's just 2 people, do head-to-head. If it's more than that, you can do run differential and then do head-to-head from there. And then, yeah, I think run scored is about the only other thing, unless you want to get kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think that makes run scored and then I guess runs allowed, right? So that'll be good enough there for any sort of ties.
Yeah, because we got some bunches up here. With everybody having 8 more games to play, anything could happen here. Could end up with a 6-way tie for 3rd place or something, So, yeah.
Well, and I guess for the play-in game, you maybe would want to have like a 1-game playoff would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could.
For the bottom spot, you wouldn't want people to have to play in for the bye, right?
Right. Yeah. Because the idea is right now we'll have 16 playoff. So the top 2 get a bye, and you'll have the 2 kind of, I guess, wild card rounds to the next 4.
Yeah, so I guess we do run differential for everything. Run differential for the 6th spot, and if multiple people are tied, till it gets down to 2, and then it's a 1-game playoff.
Yeah, so I guess in this situation here, we would look at Wolves and Beavers. What did they do head to head? First off, and then from if they went split 2-2, we go differential. Wolves would be in. So yeah.
So I was saying I wouldn't use differential after.
You wouldn't. Okay.
I would just use differential to get things down to 2.
Okay. So what would you do in this situation if theoretically Wolves and Beavers tied? I don't know if they played each other yet. I forget.
Yeah, and assuming they went 2-2, then they would just play each other. But then
you do a 1-game playoff to get in.
Yeah, and then their 1 is tired going into the playoffs. Okay. So I like that.
That's fine.
Okay. So I think Aloha and Fringe guys, they're just kind of out. I mean, technically they could get to 20. I don't even know who they have left to play, but they're let's just assume they're basically out.
Right. I think this round, actually the next games I have the sim are you're playing Interest is playing Fringe guys. So I know that's week 10 is that series. So.
And I'm a bad matchup for Scooble, but I think I'm actually a pretty good matchup against Crochet.
Yeah, Crochet.
And then everyone's a good matchup against Povich, so...
Right. And then Max Scherzer, I think, is their 3rd. So he's hit or miss. He's had some good starts. He's had some bad starts. I think he has a home run on his chart, so that goes against him. So I think yeah. Yeah,
and so it's for me and Roadrunners, it's you're hoping to 3-1 here, and then you don't have to, go crazy. And then, basically everyone's everyone's starters are going to reset and bullpen will reset unless they have the 1-game playoff.
Right, unless there's a 1-game playoff, yeah.
Then you end up offset. Legion probably needs to. If you're Legion, what do you need?
You need to go 6-2 at least, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's either 6-2 or 7-1. You don't feel good 6-2.
Yeah.
You probably feel better. You probably are safe if you're 7-1. Again, obviously, if they're playing me, me or Wolves, and they put 4 losses on us,
they've got Wolves and Nightflame that finish the season out. Yeah, so they've got two of the top 5 teams, 2 of the top 6 teams to play against. So not looking good there.
So when we're coming down the stretch here, like you're simming these, like, so for me, right? If I was on the outside looking in, like, I have Chapman, who's by far my best reliever. It's like, where do you get more aggressive with like the bullpen uses? What's your like mentality here?
Well, I think if you're somebody that's fighting for a playoff spot, you're just no holds barred at that point, right? You have to be. I mean, if it's somebody like Legion, if it's somebody like Funnel Cakes, where you're trying to get as many wins as you can, forget the tiredness. You got to get the wins when you can have them. So if you're in the position to win, you got to go for it. Deal with tomorrow.
Yep, I think that's the right way to go about it. Yeah. So the runs scored, right? The highest runs is basically 210, and then the bottom is 110. So you got about 100 run differential between Claude and Fringe Guy. Well, Aloha's a 1. So the teams that are there at the bottom, do they just feel like they're never scored? They just never have big innings. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so there's they just don't have. They have singles hitters that are speed C.
Okay,
so you have to string together so many hits or hope for and they're not like, they don't have a 17 to 20 home run guy or multiple of them. You've got the on base 10, 9, walk 6 to 12, a 7 to 15 single and a little bit couple doubles and a 19 to 20 home run. And so it's just hard to string together hits, and you can't advance runners when you're at speed 8 to 12.
Yep. And then pitching wise, as we look at so the most runs allowed is Claude, also at 176, but nobody's in like, what's the lowest? 131 is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, Red Runner's at 131. Looks like, yeah.
So the pitching just ends up being a little bit more clustered, right? Nobody's dominating on the pitching side.
Yeah, I think part of the function that we talked about this before is, I think there's a little bit to do with the clutch dice. I think there's more advantage to the 24-sided dice versus the 16-sided dice when you roll a 1 on one side or the other, a 1 or a 20. So that bends it into it. And plus, we've gone over the stats in the past that, offense is slightly ticked up compared to like real life. So I think you'll see that reflected in the runs allowed.
Gotcha. So, okay, so there's a bit of a deeper dive on the standings there. We're going to go into the batters specifically. Okay, so here are your runs, your RBIs, and your rack. Rack is my made-up stat that a run counts for a half, an RBI counts for a half, and then so you just divide each of them by 2 divide them by 2 and add them up. So basically, it's dividing every run that's scored. Somebody gets credit for touching home plate. Someone gets credit for being in the batter's box when it happened. Mm-hmm. And all that to say is Jose Ramirez is dominating.
Yeah. He had a worse round 9, I think. Kind of came back to earth a little bit, but still leading the pack there in all 3 of those categories.
Yeah, so I would think that he actually would, like, I wouldn't think that he would be a better run scorer than a run driving, and like I would think that he would be in like the top, 3 to 5 in any league with this set in runs, RBIs.
Mm-hmm.
But like top 10-ish in runs in any league. But not so much. Like he's scoring more than he's actually driving in for your team.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with the way my team is built. Is if I can get somebody on base, they're in scoring position just because of the speed. And there's a couple teams. I mean, everybody took high catchers, but there's a lot of teams that are rolling out just +6, +8 catchers. And if you're able to steal 75% plus at the time there, you're at second base all the time. So all you're doing is looking for just one hit with somebody. You're looking for a walk and then a hit or back-to-back hits, and you're going to score a run. So I think that goes a long way too.
Yep. Yeah, the offensive MVP, I just can't imagine it's going to be anyone other than Ramirez unless he does nothing, unless he has like an 0 for what, like 30
over
for
8
the next
games.
8.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. So Pena's scoring a bunch of runs for Beavers. Duran on Claude, right? That's an interesting one for me.
He is just lighting it. He's a doubles machine. Just he's doing really well. He's got speed too. So
he's the poor man's Carol Corbin, right? Like, or Corbin Carroll, right? I was conflating him there. So he's like that 8 with the power chart, but then if he gets on versus like a 6, a 5 or a 6, 1 to 15, he can make his own.
Yeah, he's speed A, so he can get around the bases. It seems like, especially in the last couple series, he's stuck out to me when I've seen the games that it just seems like things go in his favor lately, too. So he's getting the roles, which has helped, especially the latter couple series.
Yeah, so he's somebody that the Red Sox fans want him to trade, but he's like always the guy. Like they put the Wally, the mascot helmet on when they hit the home run, and he's always up on the rail, and he's the first guy to put the helmet on people when they hit a home run. So glad to see his little rectangle do well here.
Yeah, and with Jeremy Pena, I think for the most of the season he's been leading the league in hits. So no surprise, he's leading the league in hits and up there top with runs scored. Makes sense.
Yeah, Harper as that 10 speed A we had talked about. So Harper was probably put the thumb on the scale on his speed to give him the speed A 20, just to make him different from the other first baseman. But like that's worked well for Petra there. So it's Acuna as the 9 1 out as one of the two of those.
I think he's like a 2 to 11 walk or something. He's a walk machine, but yeah, I think his average is really low. But he's on bases up high.
Yep, but. So really, it's speed A guys, Schwarber, or 10 16s to 20. That's what we're, and then a couple of, not a ton of people who are outside of that, right? It's Schwarber and Ohtani, who just drive themselves in, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Ohtani is the Wolves' offense. Get a couple people on and then have him use his 16 to 20 home run. Yeah.
Yep. And then we go over to the RBIs, and this is a little bit more of a team stat, but you see some interesting guy, right? You have Bogarts with the relatively big single coming in there. Kurtz driving himself in, Schwarber, driving folks in on my team, Alonso. You're starting to see a little bit more of the power guys show up.
Yeah, Marte's had a really good year for Claude. He's kind of driving the middle of their lineup there. Matt Olson had a stretch there in the middle of the season where he was just going off. He was in MVP consideration the first probably quarter to half of the season.
How about Bohm down there with the 27 RBI, right? Just getting the singles and.
Yeah,
so is he driving Duran in? Is that something?
Yeah, he hits right behind Duran. So you've got Marte. I think you got the lineup starts. Was it Perdomo, Soto, Marte, Will Smith, Duran, and then Bohm. So you got some guys that can get on base ahead. And as long as Bohm's a good 8. He's got a good chart and he can drive guys in.
Yeah, I wanted to, so we do the top 3. Like it really gets distilled down to your usual suspects, right? They're just so much better than some of these other guys that it's tough for it. Like we had joked about Taglia for a while, and he's actually on one of these, believe it or not. He's on one of these slides. But it's it's when you look down, you go, oh, like Alec Bohm is probably why, and like Bohm and Duran is why Claude is leading the league.
Right. Yeah. Marte's doing what he's supposed to do. Like Soto's doing fine, but like it's those extra players that you weren't necessarily counting on that massive production that are helping drive the offense, that getting them to the top of the standings.
Yeah, how if you're paying what for Judge 600?
Yeah,
590.
I think so he's like 590. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're paying half as much for Bohm and you're getting about the same level of production, offensively, like that's pretty good. Judge, if you're Legion, you're not in love with seeing Judge. Not that high, not really in the top 10 in either of the major categories for like.
Yeah, you're paying those points. He needs to be a top 3 player. That's at least top 5.
Yeah, and he'll show up on some of these other lists. Like he has individual stuff. Like he'll get on base, but at the end of the day, he's not contributing to like runs being scored, which is why I like that rack number.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, Judge coming in at 20. Coming in at being just as effective as Pete Alonso and Duran. Is not it's just not good enough if you're paying that many points.
Right. And this comes down to who's for Judge, you've got what I think TJ Friedel and Gavin Lux hitting in front of Judge in the lineup, which are solid guys, but they're just not getting on enough, I guess, for a Judge to do the damage. And Judge has a big walk too.
Well, it's the home. He needed the homers, right? Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
you end up with the bad end of variance there, right? Like the strategy. I think the strategy is fine by Legion, right? Is I'm gonna
Yeah.
get one of the two of them will get on, and if Judge is in, let's just hop over here. You know, we'll just go to the home run total and come back to the next one, right? You know, so Judge has got 10, and he's at the same tier as Schwarber, Ohtani, and Raleigh, and like. You know, so if he's in that 20 level, like Legion's probably got 5-6 more wins, right? Like,
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's just like you talked about the variance, the not getting the rolls, not getting the advantage, kind of just luck of the roll that Showdown is sometimes.
yeah, and by my sheer dumb luck, right? Like, there are three guys who have the same exact, you know, they're 10, 16s, and 20s plus Judge if you count him as an 11, 17. Like, and my guy happens to be doing the best of all of them for that single stat, and that is the stat I try to maximize for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean to Judge's case too. I mean, I'm just looking at Legion stats. You know, Gavin Lux's OBP is 402. I mean, that's good. His OPS is 829. Friedel's down at 685 OPS, but they're getting on base in front of him. It's just with Judge, you're hoping for that home run, and he's getting the walks instead. So
yeah, he's got as many home runs as Ryan O'Hearn and Devers, right? Like, it's just not where you want him to be. Even if he's Raleigh, even if he has 4 home runs, so he has one more home run every other series at this point, right? You know, you're talking a couple of wins, and that's in such a small sample size. That's pretty big.
yeah, 11 home. Yeah, looking at Judge's stats, 11 home runs and 31 walks. So just take some of those. Like he's getting the. For while I'm looking there with 11 on base, he's getting the advantage. It's just he's rolling 3 to 12s instead of 16 to 20. You know.
Yep. So for homers, right? So we've talked about this in a bunch of different iterations. Like my strategy was to min-max home runs. Like I am not going to string 3 singles together to get in there. Do I have
Right.
Do I have anybody on the doubles list at all? I don't.
Nope.
That's what I. Well, that's.
Do you
that's
have
how
anybody that hits doubles on your team? Is it just singles or home runs? Yeah.
A lot of my guys don't have doubles on their chart, so it'd be a lot of 20s. So I have 3 guys who have like performed basically up to what they needed to with Grisham, Stanton, and Schwarber. Obviously, has been on the good end of variance there. You know, if we played another 9 series and he ended up, if he ended up producing. We have the head 10. Oh, like even if he produced like the Raleigh 14, I'm in a lot of trouble. So if we doubled up there, so. But then, so now we'll hop over. So the home run guys. What's interesting is not all these guys are home run hitters. I mean, you got some 10s with good charts. Will Smith. What's Will Smith, a 9-18?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's an 18. Yeah.
Which is funny because like, isn't Grisham like a 9-17 or?
I think he's a 17. Yeah.
Yeah. So Grisham's just better at doing that. And it's like, those little bit of variance is kind of what makes it fun there.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned I think O'Hearn's he's at 10 on base, I believe, but he's a 19 to 20 home runs. So he's not even he's not Judge. He's got the same amount of home runs as Judge. So yeah.
And Marte, what's Marte? 10 to 18?
I think he's 18. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he's up there.
Same with Ramirez. Ramirez is an 18.
Yeah. So yeah, Ramirez is running hot. You can see how these small sample size, like this is how you make legends out of guys.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so the doubles guys, these are guys who are, you don't have to pay the premium for the doubles. Paglia, there he is at number 3 in the league still.
Yeah, he's the 20 king. He just can get that 20 against the not having the advantage.
Where's Funnel Cakes at? Is he in the middle? Like
Funnel Cakes is 16 and 20, so he's kind of he's almost out of it. Yeah.
Well, it's not Taglia's fault, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's done as much as you could expect out of a sub 100-point guy.
Yeah, he's hit his cap. I think he's regressed massively over time. So yeah.
Yep. But the guys who hit the doubles, right? It's like you're seeing a lot of random names here. It's like that can go for naught if the people behind you aren't helping you out here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing some people here that are in the bottom half of lineups as well. I mean, Taglia is, I think, that's 7th. Joey Bart, Luis Garcia, Josh Smith, Michael Garcia's leading off. But those guys are all bottom of the lineup, kind of 7, 8, 9 guys in those teams' lineups.
Yep. But some of those guys are getting probably some cheap runs, right? You got the Bond car there at the end of at the bottom of the doubles and the bottom of the stolen bases, who's at the bottom of the lineup with the Austin Martin.
Yep.
I'm going to make that nickname stick here. The Bond car. But it's like, if you can get a guy at the bottom of the order who like can get himself to second base, like that's pretty valuable.
But yeah, if you can flip that lineup over, that's huge. Yeah, that's why a lot of these lineups are built on basically a hope and a prayer at the bottom of the lineup. And if you can get anything out of those guys, it goes a long way.
We were looking at Petra's lineup, didn't he had something? Was it Petra or was it Knight Felina who had that had the speed guy at the bottom? I forget. We were talking.
Looking, they got Petra's got Parker Meadows batting ninth, so he's a speed. I think he's a slow A, so I think he's about an 18.
Yeah, so you get there. Yeah, he's not on here. And then the stolen base. This is the stat that gets like the most out of whack, just based on our rule set here.
Right, in a no limit stolen base league, it goes. I think was it round 9 I played against Claude? Was that right? Or I forget. Or was it just this? I played a couple series in round 10, so I'm mixing up. I just played Claude and Yawggy, and I think Claude has Will Smith as the catcher, who's a +3, and I think there was 24 stolen bases in that series.
Yeah, I mean you're just torching him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're it's funny for you. They're like worse there aren't a ton of bad matchups. You have some guys who can steal, who can at least like take their chance against anyone. Yeah. But you also have you have matchups that you're just gonna punish people.
Right. Yeah. Anybody that's a sub +10 catcher, it's an automatic steal for almost everybody in the lineup every time they have an opportunity to. It's worth the risk.
Yes, those guys are all get it. Like that stolen base number is probably the least unrealistic as far as the simulation. But, because the runs are basically where they should be, like I don't see any need to
Yeah, I don't think so right now. I think I'm just pulling up. I'm curious. I haven't actually looked at it right now. I was going to look at what stolen base percentage for the league is right now. And that's skewed because, typically my preference is not to try for steals unless you've got better than a 50-50 chance most of the time, and we're stealing at a 82% success rate.
I think I've attempted 2 or 3 steals on the year, my team.
Yeah, I think the way I'm doing it with the single plus is an automatic steal. So if you have a single plus on your chart, that's going to be a free steal basically. So that's going to skew the steals to the positive a little more than normal too. So
yeah, so between the infinite steals and the single plus being the auto steal.
Yeah. And
we did a whole house rules episode. You can go look in the archive and find that on different ways to make. If you look at this and you're offended by how these stats come out, there's plenty of ways to tame that down a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think anything really is out of whack. I mean, like you said, the runs are there. We're not averaging. Teams aren't scoring 8 runs a game every game. There's 1-0 games. There's 13-2 games. It's kind of all over the place. It feels like we've talked about in that it definitely feels like baseball. So.
Yeah, and the crazy run games are really because a pitcher is just stuck out there to die.
Right. Yeah. If you've got a starter out there and they've allowed 5 runs in the first 2 innings, it's like, well, I'm not going to kill with our tardiness rules, I'm not going to kill the entire bullpen for the rest of the series. Just let this guy die for 5 innings, and then we can pick it up next game. Yeah.
Yeah, and next week we'll go into the pitchers in depth, but Schlittler for you is scary because his season stats are bad, and if that was going on in real life, you'd be like, oh, there's something wrong with this guy. But you make the playoffs, and his chart is just fine.
Right. Yeah. He's a 3, and he's a 16-20 no double. So it's and he's just getting ERA of 9. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's he's as good of a starter as he ever was. There's nothing wrong with him, there would be in real life.
Right, and then we had the 6-team league back in the fall winter. He was one of the best pitchers, and it just goes to the variance and how you can roll dice. And I guess these offenses are built a little different too. There's a lot of people with strong 10s, back to back to back. Makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now we got a little bit more of the individual stats, right? These are not as closely tied to team success as definitely the first slide we showed, and probably less so that second slide. So batting average is obviously running a little hot. There's not a ton of people hitting 300 in the league right now. But there's no errors. There's not a ton of fielder's choice, right? I'm not deeply offended by this. Like maybe the bot's a little generous on the hits, I would say.
Yeah, I think the bot and just how Showdown runs the rule set, like you mentioned before, the lack of errors, the fielder's choices, the only ones you see there are going to be failed double play attempts. So it's going to skew high anyways. Like I said, if you get rid of the top five, it's not too bad from there. So I think it's just we've talked about this before, where it's skewed the top people kind of skewed that one way, and I think we'll start seeing that tailor back over the next couple series as well. JP Crawford's a pleasant surprise there. He's a 9, batting at the 9 spot in Legion's lineup. Leading the league in OBP and close to leading the league in batting average. So,
yep. None of my guys in batting average, so
not a surprise. Like you mentioned it before, if there's a team that's going to get no hit, yours is the top team that has the possibility to get no hit. Yeah, it's no fault of the lineup's construction. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then Crawford is just because he's not even the best 9 in the set. He's not even a particularly good.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's not a particularly great 9, right? Like he's just like he is a 9. But yeah, so this is just like where the variance comes in. It's like, and we're pretty deep in where like the Toglia has kind of come back down to earth, right?
Right. Yeah. We're getting outside of small sample set. I mean, you're talking close to 40 games in at this point, 36 games in, I guess, at this point, right? So
yeah, but I love to look at it, right? You got you got Chase Meadroth, you got Isaac Collins, you got Duran above 300. Like they're like 8s in here that are hitting.
Yeah.
Because there is a thought that's like, hey, like on a long enough sample size, and this is true, but the question is how large of a sample size it is. It's like the cream just like rises so much to the top, and I guess we're here to say that like 40 games in, like those middle of the road guys, those average guys can still be in the league leaders in some pretty core categories here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it tells me when it comes to drafting, lineup construction, that kind of thing, like. You don't need to be 100% reliant on let me get that biggest number I can in the on base and and stack as much as I can there and then let the rest of the lineup be on base 4s and 5s. That you can get value in your 8s and some good 9s and even in some of the 7s and put something together and get people that can produce if you do well. I mean, Jacob Young, look at him there hitting 315 in Petra's lineup with a on base of 6.
Yeah, well, and you say that. So there was a time, and this episode's kind of like when I was doing the draft. It was basically came down to did I want Chapman or did I want Caminero at third base, and like I kind of was like, nobody's really run a Chapman, and I'd be kind of for science, would like to run him here. But I'm kind of wondering what my team would have looked like if I had just gotten like a 250 point guy. And then got Caminero in there to like bookend my lineup a little bit. Because I had, how he would have done on the home run front.
Right. Who do you have at third base right now? It's just escaping right now.
I can't remember. My apologies to whoever you are. I bet you're doing great, and I bet you're trying your hardest. I know you're not part of my core strategy of hit home runs like Caminero.
Luis Urias.
Yep. I bet you're doing your best. Look. He's
got a 787 OPS. That's not nothing, That's not bad. You got 8 home runs, so
8 home runs. There you go. You're contributing. You're just getting on the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on base is, a little high, but not crazy. It's not like someone has an on base of 500 here.
Right. Yeah. And even then, Crawford going off, he's kind of separated himself, and then you got Olsen and Judge, and then it's kind of everybody else. So you got those top 3, and then it's kind of a lot of realistic looking OBPs.
I mean, you got an 8 with a 400 OBP. I mean, it happens to be the fastest guy in the league, which is like compounds things a little bit.
Yeah, I think he won. Was it week 8 Player of the Week? He was the MVP for that week, so that was interesting to see.
Yep, and then Slug. That's actually where some of my guys show back up here, right? So you get in the Schwarber's back in there, Stanton.
Yeah, Stanton, he gets the advantage.
Also, so poor fringe guys, right? Like I feel for this because I don't feel like I feel like his strategy was more sound. Like he definitely should have had a 4th reliever at least, but like that happens, right? But like you have George Springer, you have one of the 211s, and like he's shown up one time on these 3 slides.
Yeah, yep.
I mean, we were just like dogging on Judge. You know, for like, oh, he's like running cold and like costing his team. Like George Springer, like that little rectangle is like, because Scooble and Crochet have done about as much as you could hope for two starters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's like you when you put that many points around a guy, it's like you need to show up more than once on these slides.
Yeah, and he's having a solid season. He's not doing bad. Like you said, he's not in the league leaders. His OPS is 930, so he's hitting OPS over 900, which isn't bad. He's got 9 home runs, so it's not horrible. It's just like you said, if you're spending that kind of points, especially if you're at 11, you want to be up there.
Yeah, and you want to be accountable for some runs, and part of that has to do with the team construction, where it's like a lot of speed B, not super potent charts over there, but. Also, Jake Bauers up here on the slug. There's an 8.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I like that card. I like Jake Bowers. I like that. I like him from his set. I think you or I had him on our team for the 6-team league. He did well there as well.
Yeah. All right. Was there anybody we didn't talk about here offensively that you want to go into before we call it a day?
I don't think so. I think Funnel Cakes is hampered with their lineup and kind of going over points. Fernando Tatis Jr. doing well in his limited role. He's a bench player, so he's taking advantage of the times that 1 or 2 at bats he gets a game. I think if he had more at bats, his counting stats would be a lot better. But him and Adolis Garcia are kind of splitting time there.
I mean, but pro rate, like he's like when he's playing well, which is. So that's even more of a, like, so if we dig into that strategy, right? So it's like, Tatis, it's not even like when Tatis is playing, he has a bad small sample size. He actually probably has a better than average small sample size. Like, he's probably run a little hot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's still been a net negative. So the heavy pointed relief, like, bench player strategy, like, really isn't viable in these at least in this league with this set, right? Like, maybe there's a setup where it would be better, but
well, I think with the reliever rules we have, you're better off spending those points in your bullpen, if nothing else.
Yeah, you'll always have a chance there. So
yeah, but
yeah, that's a great point to end on. Is that little don't get too cute with this. Like sometimes just having a good, intelligent, well constructed lineup is best for your players.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, this has been another week of This Week in Showdown. So happy 4th to you guys. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. And we'll see you next week.